What's up?
How you doing? You're one leg off the bed already, which I feel like...
Getting in bed with Kristin. Getting in bed with Kristin. Yeah.
So, welcome to my bed.
Thank you.
It feels great to have you here. This is Brittani Nichols. Brittani, you're like, the way to describe you, I feel like there's a lot of, you're a writer, you're a comedian, you're an actor. I noticed on your bio that you're an esteemed lesbian. I just watched a film. I was able to advance screen it because I'm like, I'm important or whatever. It's called Suicide Kale, and I think you had a little bit to do with this movie. So can you tell them about it? Because it's really great.
Suicide Kale is a movie about two couples having lunch, and one of them finds an anonymous suicide note at the home of the host couple. So it's a comedy of them dealing with that situation.
And it's premiering in Houston, right?
Mm-hmm.
In
Yes.
just a few days. All the links to follow the progress and where it's going to be screening and all those things you can follow below. So I have a ton of questions for you. Tender Boy wants to know, Brittani, what is your best dad joke?
A guy walks into a bar. Ouch.
That's really good.
Thanks.
Somebody walks into a bar. I don't remember. I can't remember. Two people wrote in, both Hint of Light and Christina wrote questions about you being on Transparent. Of course, people are very excited about this. One of them asks, what was your favorite part about being on Transparent? And the other asks, what was it like working on such an awesome show?
My favorite thing to film was the dinner scene that I was in, because I just got to be surrounded by these incredible actors and got to see them work for an entire day, and also got to, participate in the energy of the scene and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
It's such a, queer-friendly environment. Because, when you're acting, you do have to do things like give your measurements and give your sizes. And, some people react better to you being like, well, I only wear men's clothing, so I'm going to give you the men's sizes, and you might have to shop a little differently than, you normally would.
So, your experience, even with the wardrobe department, was that you were working with, queer people, or at least people who were knowledgeable of, queer and trans people.
Yeah. When I, went to my fitting, they had clothes that I would actually wear, and I was like, oh, this is great. This is great. You're not going to, put me in some, frilly top. These are men's sweatshirts, and it's the right size, and, all that sort of stuff.
Right. Well, that's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
So Jenny really wanted to be here today. You didn't see Jenny's episode yet.
I haven't.
But when I announced that you're the next guest, she loses her mind. She bounces up and down. I have to tell her to stop bouncing. She was really sad not to be here and left me with some questions. What does Gabby Hoffman smell like?
I'll say lavender.
Lavender, okay. What is your favorite thing about Jenny Owen Youngs?
Her hand movements. Jenny hands.
What does Carrie Brownstein smell like?
Vanilla extract.
Wow. If Jenny Owen Youngs was with you right now on the bed with you and Kristin, what would you most want to say to her?
I love you.
It got really sweet and romantic. I love you too, Jenny. Tuma asked on Instagram, how do you, or do you at all, separate your identities as a queer person of color and as a performer artist? Do you identify as a queer first and artist second, or vice versa? Do you feel the burden of representation when you're the only queer person of color on set?
I try not to separate them. I feel all of them all the time concurrently. I think that in this industry, it does matter, and it is something that I think about when I'm the only queer or person of color or both on set at comedy shows. A lot of the places that I go, I'm the only black woman or the only lesbian or any of those things. I just have so many things to choose from that I'm usually the only of something a lot of the places that I go. It's this weird pull that I've been feeling recently of it's good that I'm there. It's good that I am trying to make this a space that is safe for people like me. But also, do I need to be doing more of going to spaces that are built for people like me? Trying to balance that in my career is something that I'm dealing with now. People are like, oh, well, why are you the only, black person there? What is that about? They don't question the space. They just question you as the individual of well, shouldn't you just go to the space with people of color and all that sort of stuff?
Anytime I hear things like this, I know that happens, but it's just how could you not reflect on your own self, on your own work, on your own space in that scenario? Having spaces that are safe and specific to queer people of color or just to queer people or whatever the case may be is really important. But that's certainly, I mean, to me, that doesn't mean that other spaces
should be exclusive,
right?
Exclusionary.
So do you have like entirely different sets that you do if you're in like a space that's primarily like queer people or queer people of color versus if you're in a more general setting?
I don't, and I think that ties into like their question about, do I consider myself like a queer artist first or just an artist first?
Yeah.
And for me personally, it feels like a politicized thing. Like, I think that we're still at a point where when any non-male identified person performs, it's a political act. I have a 3-minute bit in my stand-up about like binders, and people after shows will come up to me and be like, I didn't know what a binder was. Like, oh my God, I'm learning so much. I think that there's just like a way to make those sorts of conversations accessible, and I don't think that people walk away thinking, oh, I just saw a queer stand-up comedian, blah, blah, blah. They just see, you know, this is this person's experience. Because that's what all of this art, all of comedy is supposed to be, tapping into, like, a unique point of view. And my point of view happens to be very colored by those things because it's a part of me that I can't not deal with. I'm, like, gender nonconforming, so it's, like, something that I deal with every day. Like, there is no getting around it for me. There is no people not taking it in. So I think using it makes it more interesting and it makes it more unique.
Are you ready to answer some advice?
Mm-hmm.
Great. Ghosts All in My Head asks, in general, how long do you think you should date a person until you make it an official relationship? I've been seeing this girl for about a month and I'm not really looking for a label yet, but she mentioned last night that she doesn't like putting a label on things.
Run.
I asked if there was a chance it would ever turn into a relationship, and she said, there's a chance. I don't know what to think. So why don't you help me give advice?
Okay.
Yeah, great.
All right. Well, it sounds like you're communicating, which is a great start. I think the hardest thing in situations like this is you have to just really listen to what people are saying, even if it's what you don't want to hear.
So the I don't know what to think is more like you don't want to
think what they're telling you to think. This doesn't mean that you have to like get out of there. You can sit and see what happens.
And if you do it anyway, try not to put any anger towards this person when they say, but I told you from the beginning that like we weren't going to put a label on this thing.
Ultimately, you want someone who's excited about you in the same way that you're excited about them.
Protect yourself as much as you can. Make you the centerpiece of your decision making and really, really be honest with yourself about how you're feeling and continue to communicate, which you started with. And I think you're right. Like that communication is key. It's everything. Good luck. Well, I have a question that I ask everyone on the show.
Okay.
Which is big spoon or little spoon?
I can do both.
Okay.
But I enjoy being a big spoon.
But you will little spoon.
Oh yeah, sometimes I just need to be wrapped up. I will little spoon.
Yeah. I think that there's this myth that people are a big spoon or a little spoon, but what we're finding here on Getting in Bed with Kristin is that like we all like to be held and hold.
Yes. You like to be loved and you like to give love.
Of course. Thank you for being in bed with me.
Thanks for having me.
Can I give you a hug? Can we give and receive love?
Yes.
Okay, so next time, Jasika Nicole, who is in Suicide Kale with Britney, and you may know her from Fringe, you may know her from Scandal. She is on the podcast Welcome to Nightvale, and the new podcast, which is a spinoff of Welcome to Nightvale, Alice Ain't Dead, and she's going to be in this bed with me next time. Britney, you are the best.
You're the best.
You give and receive love, see? Bye. A girl walks into a bar and the bartender says, "What'll you have?" And she says, "A double entendre." And the bartender gives it to her.
Maybe I just don't get it.
But I think...